In this case, with these auto tariffs, this is not about behavior. This is not conditional.
Been seen before I was elected, we were losing all of our plants that were being built in Mexico and Canada and other places. Now those plants largely have stopped and they're moving them to our country. And
a $7,000 price hike on your next car. That's what experts say could happen thanks to Trump's new 25% tariff on imported vehicles. Not exactly the stimulus check you were hoping for, right? Meanwhile, Japanese automakers are scrambling like ants at a picnic. Toyota, Honda, and Nissan are making emergency moves that could reshape the entire US car market. Want to know if you should buy that car now or wait? Or if your auto industry job is safe? I've got the answers coming up, including what Ford and GM are panicking about behind closed doors. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video.
I think that tells you a lot, Kelly, about how the president sees these tariffs, right? I mean, some of these tariffs have been positioned as conditional.
25% tariff on all cars imported into the United States from the 2nd of April. The US president claimed the measures would spur growth in the US car industry.
So Trump's brilliant plan to make America great again involves making your next Toyota cost as much as your kid's college tuition. Beautiful strategy. Nothing says economic genius like slapping a 25% tariff on cars from the country that gave us reliable vehicles while Detroit was still figuring out how to make cars that don't break down every other Tuesday. But here's the thing, Toyota, Honda, and Nissan aren't exactly rookie players in this game. These companies have been dealing with American political nonsense since before Trump learned how to spell tariff, which I'm not convinced he can do correctly even now.
You know, if the foreign government does this, then we'll pull these tariffs off. This is about fentanyl. This is about other behavior.
Analysts estimate that 25% tariffs on car parts from Mexico and Canada could add between $4,000 and $10,000 in costs.
Take Toyota. They're basically doing the corporate equivalent of, oh, you want to tax our imports? That's cute. They've already got 8 manufacturing plants across the US employing almost 48,000 Americans. Their Georgetown, Kentucky factory is their largest outside Japan, churning out Camrys, RAV4s, and Lexus models that technically make them more American-made than some so-called American brands. Honda's playing the same game, but with even more foresight. They've been expanding their Ohio and Alabama facilities since last year, almost like they had a crystal ball showing Trump's economic tantrums. Their Lincoln, Alabama plant already produces most of their SUVs sold in America, and they're quietly shifting more production stateside while Donnie Diapers takes his victory lap.
In this case, with these auto tariffs, this is not about behavior. This is not conditional.
been seen before I was elected, we were losing all of our plants that were being built in Mexico and Canada and other places. Now those plants largely have stopped and they're moving them to our country. And
Nissan's response might be the most interesting though. They're considering fast-tracking US production of their electric vehicles. You know, the very technology Trump's administration has been fighting against while claiming coal is the future. It's like watching someone use your own boxing glove to punch you in the face. What's hilarious about this whole situation is that these foreign automakers directly employ over 100,000 Americans. When you include suppliers and dealers, that number jumps to nearly 2 million jobs. So when Trump says he's saving American jobs, he's actually threatening them. Classic Trumpian logic. Solve a problem that doesn't exist by creating an actual problem. The UAW is sitting on the sidelines with the world's most complicated facial expression. More American production sounds great until you realize these Japanese transplants typically pay lower wages and have successfully avoided unionization at most facilities. It's like being offered a sandwich when you're hungry, but then finding out it's made with questionable meat.
What the president told me yesterday in the Oval Office was this is going into place and it's going to be 100% permanent. And I think certainly a manufacturing worker and saying we need to recreate the economy for those voters. And he sees this as his way to do that.
While American automakers are busy figuring out how to untangle their global supply chains that Trump just set on fire, Japanese brands are already 3 steps ahead, reshuffling production and preparing to weather the storm. They've turned Trump's America First tantrum into an opportunity to strengthen their American footprint while Ford and GM scramble to avoid bankruptcy. But Japan's clever manufacturing shuffle is just one piece of a much messier global puzzle. China has already kicked the trade war into overdrive with revenge tariffs that make Trump's 25% look like a friendly handshake. They've slapped a jaw-dropping 125% tax on American vehicles, transforming the Ford F-150 from a working-class truck into something only Chinese millionaires can afford. That's not a tariff, it's a keep your American junk sign written in economic policy.
Today in the stock impact of some of these moves, and he said, yeah, but I care about the jobs, right? That gives you a sense that this is a president who views this auto tariff as a way to reshape American manufacturing, and maybe
American automakers are now in a no-win situation. They're locked out of the world's biggest car market while simultaneously watching their production costs skyrocket thanks to Trump's own tariffs on imported parts. Ford and GM executives are privately freaking out as their accountants project losses that could reach billions. No wonder they're not rushing to hold press conferences celebrating these America First policies. The European Union has also entered the fight, with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen publicly stating, "I deeply regret the US decision to impose tariffs on EU automotive exports. Tariffs are taxes, bad for businesses, worse for consumers in the US and the EU." She didn't mince words, adding that these tariffs will make cars more expensive in America, including those produced by German automakers right here in the United States. What's truly mind-boggling is how globally interconnected car manufacturing has become. Your American-made vehicle actually contains components from more countries than Trump could identify on a map. Even Tesla, which boasts about its American manufacturing, still needs parts from overseas suppliers. When Orange Turd screams America First, he's ignoring the reality that modern vehicle production is more internationally connected than his own family tree. Economists from across the political spectrum are sounding alarm bells about potential inflation and recession risks. Even Trump's former economic advisors are quietly distancing themselves from these policies faster than Republicans from a Trump rally when the helicopter leaves. The tariffs threaten to push car prices even higher during a time when Americans are already struggling with inflation. The cruel irony is that these policies hurt the blue-collar workers Trump claims to champion. Auto industry employees aren't celebrating the prospect of production slowdowns, parts shortages, and potential layoffs. They're worried about making next month's rent, while billionaire car company executives figure out which yacht they'll have to sell last. So here's the ugly truth. While we're all arguing about which car companies get screwed the worst, the ultra-wealthy are laughing all the way to their offshore banks. These billionaires don't care about tariff wars. They just fly over the traffic in their private jets and land directly on a loophole, while regular folks like us get crushed under rising prices. Funny how economic policies always seem to hurt the people they claim to help. The average American will be coughing up thousands more for basic transportation, while the rich turn market chaos into profit. Next time you're at a dealership getting heart palpitations from the price tag, just remember to whisper, "Thanks, Donnie."